Are we on? I think we're on. Oh, what an afternoon. Hi guys. I apologise for the massive delay. It's 2 hours classified as a massive delay. Um, I think it probably is. So I apologise. It was beyond my control, and trust me, you wouldn't want to have watched anything that was broadcasted for the last 2 hours. But I think we're hopefully live now. Let me know in the chat if I'm coming through okay. I can see you guys have been chatting in there. I'm going to assume from Only Slaggins, that I'm actually live. Do you know what, I did forget to check. Microphone's unmuted. That would have been fun. So, obviously the plan today was to do pork belly burnt ends and sort of finish them off on the live stream. We are still going to do that. They're just a little bit further along than I was expecting them to be. So we have a few people jumping on who've got in the waiting room. We're going to call it the waiting room today rather than the chat because that's what most of you have been doing. So let me see. Only Slaggins here. Irish Pete's here. Dutchy Cooking. Ted Whitmore, aka Terry, on here. Jason McAvoy. Mark Higgins. There's quite a few of you in here. Thank you so much for holding on. This was a bit of a disaster at the start. So, what are you guys all cooking today? I hope you're out enjoying the sunshine. I can't really say much about people being outside because the weather's so good that we've been outside all day. We've been outside all day in utter silence up until 2:45. So we're just trying to enjoy it a bit and make hay while the sun shines, as they say. So Maggie the Pole have just finished pork belly burnt ends with char siu and Pyongyang sauce, and they came out amazing. You're getting on better than I am with them. Using the pit barrel cooker, very nice. So I've been cooking. I'll run you through roughly what I've been doing while you've been waiting in here. So I had a rare breed pork belly from Hillstown Farm Shop. It wasn't a huge slab, it was only a couple of pound in weight. So I diced that up and treated it with, that's what we really call it. So the Cosmo Q Honey Killer Bee. So this is a rub. It's a gluten-free rub. We actually had it in the place I work, and there's honey crystals in this, which I thought was pretty good for pork belly burnt ends, since normally you would add honey to them. So I'm going to skip that step now. So they were just treated with this, put onto the KJ at around 120C, and they were smoking for around 3 hours, just over 3 hours. Was happy with the colour on them, so I lifted them off, put them into a little tinfoil parcel and wrapped them up as tight as I could, and I added a little bit of apple juice in there. So they've been on there for, I've kind of lost track of time now this afternoon. They've been on for around 40 minutes or so. The idea of that is just to braise them down a little bit more, and try and take some of that apple juice in there and just break down some of those fats and render them out a little bit better. So now we're really left at the stage where we unwrap them and add a bit of sauce to them, toss them around and put them back on just to set the sauce. Then we can eat them. So what's everybody else saying? Glad you were late, had my duties to complete and was running late. I knew that, mate. I was trying to buy you time. Back to the pole, and 2 chickens beforehand, rationing the briquettes. So you've been doing a lot of cooking today. So I actually had planned on getting some beef jerky ready. My daughter absolutely loves beef jerky, and she's sitting over here waving her arms about. So she's been on at me for ages and we can't seem to find it anywhere, so I decided to go do my own. I'd done my own a few years ago, and it turned out pretty well and she loved it, so I'm going to use the same method again. So maybe stick something up on Instagram and give it a go, but I was going to do it today. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to do it tomorrow or Monday. I might get it into the marinade tonight and let it soak in it. So take a look at these burnt ends. Again, they're in a wee tinfoil parcel. A wee tinfoil parcel. That's a Northern Ireland tinfoil parcel. I'm going to lift them off, stick them into this tray, and have a look at them, and then we'll put them a bit of sauce into them. Try not to spill liquid everywhere. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see these. I'll try and clear the path. Lift my beer out. I'm a bit disappointed there hasn't been a Corona joke yet. So I wonder if I got any leaks. I don't have any leaks. I'm going to try and lift them out onto the table. Flatten that down a bit. Most of the liquid I've put into them has actually been absorbed into them. There's a little bit of fat run out here, but there isn't that much there. They are nice and squishy and soft, as pork belly ends should be. Before I put them in, they had rendered out quite a lot of fat, and they built up quite a nice bark on it, and it was quite a crispy, chunky bark. Now, the reason I put them in tinfoil rather than just into a tray and wrapping them is because I didn't really want to steam them. I wanted to try and wrap them as tight as possible, still just keep that bark nice and crispy on the edges, which it has done. But the fat has definitely rendered out. Let's see, and they're nice and squishy. They're still tender. They're going to pull apart pretty easy if I try, which I don't want to just yet. Jason McFoy's cooking up beef ribs. Very nice. How they going, mate? Are you far away? So Jason had a live stream this morning, heading into the market in Cork, going through all the sort of fresh produce and stuff they had. The place looks amazing. I would love something like that really close to you. He says it's a 20-minute walk away from his house. Absolutely jealous. So I'm gonna, please don't rip, transfer them back over in the bowl. We'll put a wee bit of sauce into them, put them back onto the KJ. I might actually open the top vent up a little bit just to set the sauce on it. It has been sitting rock steady at 250 all day, which is unreal. This is my second kind of low and slow cook on it. Some of you might have seen the post I put on Instagram, which is an upcoming video. It'll be this Friday's video about which pork butt was smoked in the WSM and which pork butt was smoked on the KJ. And you guys were voting on it, and loads of you got it wrong. Some of you got it right, but loads of you got it wrong. So a bit of barbecue sauce here from Alfie's, only slagging, we were in the chat, mate. Give me this tub and let me try it out. So it is quite a nice barbecue sauce, quite a traditional sort of sweet barbecue sauce, but I think it should go alright in these. I haven't done any of the sugar or honey into these. I see someone's just popped up a question, do you put butter and brown sugar in? If you go into the video on my channel, you'll see butter and brown sugar and honey and all sorts on them, but for these ones here I want to try them a slightly different way. That rub already has those honey flavours in it, so I'm kind of hoping it's going to be sweet enough. Pardon me. This barbecue sauce is quite sweet and tangy as well, so all the dentists are closed at the minute, so I'm trying to cut down the sweetness to make sure I don't end up with a dentist appointment required. But these are, it's just a slightly different way of trying them, just to see if it works, which one I prefer. I know the other ones, I love them, they're like meat candy, but these here are a little bit different. I'm hoping some of that real pork belly flavour will stay in there. So I'm just going to drizzle over some of that sauce. Oh, don't make a mess. And make it in with her hands. Give that a bit of a toss about in the sauce. And a couple of these are falling apart when I'm moving them about, so they are super tender. Just want to tack the sauce up to them a little bit, and that should be then finished off. We'll have a bit of a chat. Oh, I'm a mess. So we'll leave them uncovered. Temperature's starting to creep up in the KJ a bit. I'll set them in. Give me 2 seconds to go and wash my hands. Wasn't as prepared today with my bowl. Right, so what are some of you guys saying? If you pop over to my Instagram in a while, I'll upload pics of the cook. Happy days, mate. I'll have a look at them and see how they turned out. So, what's everybody else cooking today? Let's see, the low and slow on this yoke here. Like I said, I done that pork shoulder video. I don't want to spoil too much, but that was my first ever cook on the Kamado Joe. Doing low and slow anyway. I've done loads of roasting, hot and fast, all the rest of it, but it's interesting going from something that you're so used to setting up. Like the WSM, I've had it for, I think I got it about 6 months after I started barbecuing. So I've been using it for a few years now, and I know exactly where to set the vents to set it up. If I'm using the water pan, I know what to do. If I'm not using the water pan, I know what to do. I saw Jim doing a brisket on his. It was a corn-fed brisket. He left the water pan out completely for the first couple of hours of the cook. So there's loads of different ways of using them, but I've sort of figured them out over the years, what I like to do with them, and it's almost kind of set it and forget it. Kamado Joe was completely different. Again, I was so paranoid about overshooting the temperature, because I know if you get the temperatures really wrong on them, they can be hard to get back down, because once that ceramic heats up to a certain temperature, it is really hard to drag it back down again. But I was able to control the vents, set the vents, and bring it up slowly, and it was actually pretty nice to work with. So the whole, even though that was the first time on the Kamado Joe, it definitely worked out as well as the WSM. And I will say no more, because you need to tune in next Friday to try and to see which one I think was the winner. Right. Andy McPhee, how much does the KJ cost? Too much. No, I think the Classic 2, which is the one I have, is the recommended on it is around $13.99. You will get deals out there getting a little bit cheaper, but they tend to sort of fix pretty much at the one price. So the Classic 2, I think, is $13.99. I think if you go up from that, the Classic 3 is maybe $14.99. Don't quote me on that, but I know they're sort of starting in around. I wouldn't recommend going for the original Classic. The Classic 2 with the airlift hinge on it, and the upgraded gasket and stuff, and the upgraded control tower. I just don't think. I'm glad now that I went for the Classic 2. Part of me maybe wishes I went Classic 3, but I like the size of the Classic. The Big Joe would obviously be nice, but again, you're talking big jumps in money, and whenever I actually measured it up, I couldn't fit it through the gate of my yard, so I'd need to get it craned into the backyard. That might be a little bit too extreme. Maybe not. We'll see. So again, go minimum Classic 2. It has all the features you want: divide and conquer, control tower, upgraded gasket. That airlift hinge is a dream. But they're a great barbecue to cook on. I've been talking to a couple of people recently about this, and all the ones that have it, I really enjoy cooking on it, and whenever you go back to something else, it just doesn't feel the same. I'll move that in my shot. So yeah, so let's see, Mark Higgins doing a mashup of your burger topped with Jim's bacon onion rings. So what would we call that? Is it the Barbechoo or the Slag and Chew burger, or I don't know. come up with names if you want. Go for it. Only slagging brisket burnt end sandwiches tonight for us. That's the plan so far. So you're going to finish the brisket burnt end sandwiches and then see if you're still hungry and make something else. That brisket you did the other day, Jim, was unreal looking. I really enjoyed watching through the stories and seeing your sort of step-by-step process with it. You were layering up the rubs on it, and then that whole hot and fast thing in the WSM. I've never tried it before, so it may be something I need to give a go. Need to get my hands on a good brisket first. Why did I move the chat? Now I can't see where I went. Biscuit Burns, Jason McAvoy, nearly there, about an hour. Romney Murr, the other half of Only Slagging. Currently cooking my own skin in the smashing weather. Yes, it has been unreal. We've been out in the yard all day, just kicking about. We've got the furniture all out. We're just sitting about. I've been testing live streams and then having to cancel them. What better way to spend a nice sunny day? I'll leave the cooking to Only Slagging tonight. Just right, give him a nudge and get him up. Tell him to put that glass of wine down and get on with it. Andy McPhee, Jesus Lord, that's expensive. I'm not going to argue with it. They are an expensive barbecue, but the only problem with it is as well, you don't realise that they're worth the money until you actually splash out and buy one. I love cooking on that thing, and they are a little bit expensive, fair enough. They're a big investment. I would never recommend somebody go straight out, and as a beginner who has never barbecued before, do not go out and buy a Kamado Joe. Buy something more affordable like a kettle, learn your chops on that, and then the bug will bite you and you'll want to go that way. And it is, like, I can't argue with it. They're expensive. Only Slagging barbecue, I agree. Classic 2 or 3 only on the KJ. Yeah, I think they still sell the older classic. And watch out as well if you're comparing prices online, because there are loads of places that have a picture of a classic 2 up and they're selling the actual original classic. So just make sure you go in there and it has those upgraded features on it to make sure you don't get screwed whenever it arrives on your doorstep. Andy McPhee, the food does look amazing on it though. Yeah, at the end of the day, it is just something to hold charcoal and cook over. So I think somebody who can cook really well can cook as well on a £199 kettle as they can on a $13.99 Kamado Joe. That's why I say you're better learning what you need to do on a regular barbecue, a kettle or something out there, and then moving up. All them skills are transferable. Just get into charcoal cooking in some way, shape or form. Kamado Joe is really easy to dial in, but if you really overshoot your temperatures and stuff, there's a little bit of a knack there to getting it brought down again, so you just need to be careful with it. I've never had anything that goes drastically over. Now if you're going to freak out about temperatures and if it goes 3 degrees over, you're panicking, then you're going to be in trouble. But just start on a regular charcoal barbecue. If you have that, learn all you need to do. Some people just are not interested in ceramics. I've always been kind of interested in them, and that's why I saved up for so long to get one. Whereas I just couldn't go out and drop the money on it straight away. But definitely get your chops on a regular charcoal barbecue, and we'll go from there. Only Slagging Barbecue has named Mark Higgins' burger the Barbechoo. Just rolls off the tongue, that, doesn't it? Ted Whitmore, half leg of lamb, resting currently. Very nice. See, if this had been 2 hours earlier, you'd have been in the middle of cooking that, so I needed you to finish off your leg of lamb. Mark Higgins, brisket hot and fast, 400C was a great watch. Yep, he's talking about Jim's. So I think Jim has that saved to his highlights in his Instagram. Hold on, swig of beer. Yes, at Only Slagging over on Instagram. Jim, I'm sure you have it saved in your highlights. Let us know if you do. If you go over there and flick through it, there's quite a few videos where it runs through how to prep the brisket, what rubs and stuff he's putting onto it, and then his method for cooking it hot and fast. It was a great watch. I learned loads during that. So Did you ever try a vertical charcoal feeder barbecue? No, mate. I've never. I see there's a lot of talk going around about the Masterbuilt one at the minute, the gravity fed one. But I've never. Or is that what you mean? Is that what you're talking about? I think there's something nice about them. Maybe I've never. Same as I say, there's some people that aren't really that into ceramic cooking. I am not really into pellet grills and all that kind of stuff. I never have been. So I've never cooked on a Traeger, never really had an interest in a Traeger. When Smoke Fire came out, again, I wasn't that interested in it. I like just plain charcoal. So the Masterbuilt one that runs off charcoal, but it's a similar idea. That has really that's when we took my interest a little bit, because you're still cooking with plain lumpwood charcoal, but it's sort of controlling the fans to control the fire, at least from what I've seen of it anyway. So let me know what you think. Do you like pellet cooking? Do you like those sort of... I was actually thinking of doing a video on this about technology and has it took the fun out of cooking, because there's so many grills out there now that have pit controllers, and you plug a thermometer into your piece of meat and walk away and that'll tell you whenever it's ready, and there's loads of stuff like that creeping in, as it should be. It's called progress. But there's tons of stuff coming in there that you just... it's getting pretty close to being an oven. If you can just push 2 or 3 buttons, the barbecue sets the temperature, you plug a thermometer into it and throw it into the barbecue, and it tells you whenever it's ready. That's pretty close to being an oven. Now, granted, you'll get the sort of wood smoke flavour and stuff from it, so it's not technically identical to it, but it is getting pretty close. So I'd love to know what you guys think of it. Do you think using all these gadgets and stuff's cheating? I'm not going to be like pushy about it. Some people just want that, set a few buttons, stick stuff in, and it's done. It's just not for me, I don't think. Right. What's new? Barbecues just joined. Welcome. Maybe you had no idea we're running late. This is just a perfect time. I'll start it on time. I've been here for the last 2 hours. Mark Higgins. I'm entering into the tribal burgers competition, so that'll be its name. Well, me and Jim, I know I'm friends with you on Facebook, Mark, so we'll be in touch after for some royalties and stuff. Get it sorted out. Jim says his brisket is on the highlights, so go and check it out. Have a watch at it. And I almost forgot, Jim. Mr. Only Slagging, the one and only, has joined YouTube. I'm sure some of you saw his tweet earlier on in the week. So if you search for Only Slagging Barbecue on YouTube, not now, after, but search for it and go and give him a subscribe. He's going to be getting a few videos and stuff up there. I think he's one up at the minute of his barbecue barn classes, if you want to check it out. Shot by my good self. But if his Instagram videos are anything to go for, he's going to take YouTube by storm. So definitely go over and give him a subscribe. Dutch Cooking. Got a Stumps clone I built, and it's really easy to use. So that's a vertical charcoal barbecue. See, I just see things that I'm not interested in cooking, and I never go and look them up, which isn't good. I should really know more about these kind of things, but chat's disappearing again. I do like the look of the Masterbuilt, especially for smoking meats, etc. Yeah, so from what I've seen of it, it's the fact it runs on charcoal rather than wood pellets interests me a little bit more. Maybe it's something, again, I'm very uneducated with gravity fed smokers, but maybe it's something we'll see. I think it's always nice to see a few iterations of something before you really dive in, because then you have a bit of choice in the market. And I'm sure Masterbuilt aren't the only one, but it's the only one it's the only one I've seen recently. More beer. So maybe after this I need to go and educate myself. What's new? Barbecue pellets aren't near as fun. Yeah, I agree. It's why I've never really looked at them and had a go on them. But I'm willing to be proved wrong with it. Claire Hanlon, hi from Essex, hi from Northern Ireland. I hope it's as sunny over there as it is here. What's new barbecue? I have all types of smokers. Pellets help cook during the week if I don't want to stay up, and otherwise I throw on the stick burner. A stick burner is a completely different story. I don't know if I have the time or patience for a burner. I'd love to give it a go sometime. Just cook purely with wood. I know Jim has done it in the WSM, but it's not really the same thing as a big offset stick burner and sitting beside it all day drinking a beer and uh, oh, hold on. Did my video stop there? Is it even back on? Two seconds, guys. Oh, should be back. I knew it was going to happen at some point. I don't know if this is working, guys. So my little meters here are showing the bandwidth has dropped off. 2 seconds just to try and fix. Can you hear me now? Helps if you unmute the microphone. Unreal. Alright, I'll make sure you guys can hear me again before I start. Got no sound. It should come on in a wee second. There's a bit of a delay between me actually saying something and it happening. I need a few more of these tonight. You hear it now? Good. I'm going to get these pork belly burnt ends. I had a look at them while the world was ending. I think they're ready. The sauce is tacked up quite nice to them, so we're going to lift them off now. And then we're going to tuck in and I'm going to get more beer. So we've only really had 15-20 minutes in the sauce, but that was enough to sort of uncovered. It was enough to get them nice and taggy. Oh, they look good. So I'm gonna lift them off into a bowl. So there's a little bit of that fat in there, but it's kind of mixed with the sauce and give them a nice shine. Maybe give them a little bit of a jiggle about just to coat them in it a little bit more. Sorry if I was really loud in the microphone. Right. Oh, it smells so good. Does everybody like burnt ends, or pork belly burnt ends, should I say? Some people aren't a huge fan of pork belly, but I think it's doing them this way really renders a lot of that fat and that like jelly consistency out of them. Plus, I think buying the right pork belly as well. This was quite. If you saw the stories we posted this morning, this is quite a meaty pork belly, so there wasn't a ton of fat in it. Some pork bellies you get are quite fatty, and whenever you cook it out, there's only sort of thin strands of meat running through it. Oh, they look good. I'm gonna get rid of this. So I need to put these somewhere. I had to move the laptop, try and pick up, but if you guys can see, they are nice, soft, squishy. Still a little bit of bark built up on them, which is nice. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Yep, your dulcet tones are loud and clear. Don't know about that, I got a Northern Ireland accent. Only slagging, I'm going to hang out with you later over that, mate. You're all talking about what you're drinking. I'm drinking Corona. Corona's the only thing I have in the house. I have some other amber ale in there as well, the Morrison stuff. So I might have a bottle of it after, but it's like something a bit lighter for live streaming. So don't drink too much. Imagine doing this when you're drunk. It doesn't work whenever you're sober, so drink pale ales. Dutchy cooking, pork belly is my favourite thing to eat. Yeah, I've always liked it. I've had it a couple of different ways. I was going to try something different with these, but it's like I haven't had pork belly burnt ends in so long. So can we just have 10 minutes of you eating them? As if the internet stays on 10 minutes and nobody else wants to cut their grass. You don't want to listen to me sitting eating all these. I'm going to let them cool a bit. I like my food roasting hot, so I will have one, don't worry. Figure out what the verdict is. I have it clear. I've rewatched my own video of the last ones and the process for it, and these ones are slightly different. As I said, no butter, no sugar in them. There's enough sugar in them. Yeah, broad brands hanging in there. Keep going, keep going. Eat some, eat some. No, I'm just going to wait a minute. Mark Higgins, I'd watch you doing this drunk. Trust me, the language would be shocking. You would all tune off, no problem. Especially when stuff like this happens. If I was drunk and had no control over myself, it would be vulgar, let's say. I'd vote for that, Mark Higgins. Tell you what, Jim, I'll come up to your house, we'll all get sloshed, and we'll do a live stream and embarrass ourselves together, sure. My mouth is watering. Right, we'll dive in and give one a go here. This little guy here looks bite size. They're all quite small. I don't like making them too big. Some people make big chunky pork belly burnt ends, but I like to be able to just eat the whole thing at once. You really smell the smoke off them. I never said, but I used a chunk of cherry wood and a chunk of cherry wood and a chunk of pear wood. I don't cook with pear wood that often now, but it is a nice flavour. Cherry on pork gives you a really nice colour. Well, cherry on anything gives you a really nice colour. Right, I'm going to go for it. I'll move away from the microphone here so I'm not slapping in your ear. Should have had a napkin for my face. Mark Higgins, I'm Scottish, mate. I'd feel right at home with all the swearing. I can swear if you want. I've always tried to avoid swearing on the channel. I think that's the sensible thing to do. Only Slagging says deal. The official Barbechoo UK and Only Slagging barbecue collab. Let's get a date. We do have to get a date for a collab, mate. I'll clean my fingers. Is it rude to lick your fingers? Those taste awesome. That's all I'm gonna say. They aren't as sweet as the other ones with the honey and sugar and butter in them, but a little bit of apple juice in there has really braised them down quite nicely, and they've still retained that kind of barky texture to the outside of them. The sauce is sweet enough. I can get hints of the rub coming through. If I'm honest, the sauce probably overtakes the rub quite a bit. Maybe that's a really sweet rub, but there's very little heat or anything in it, so maybe something with a little bit more heat in it might be nicer next time. But I like this method without adding all that heart attack material into them as well. I don't know if there's such a thing as healthy pork belly burnt ends, but these are healthier pork belly burnt ends. Just that little bit of apple juice in there. Gonna have another one. Can't resist. Oh no. Assuming the fat renders down in pork belly, it is so nice. It sounds daft to say fat's nice, but right. What's everyone else saying? Maggie sitting outside and starting to smell lighter fluid and easy burn pre-douse petrol station charcoal. The masses are starting to barbecue. Yeah. I had somebody get in touch with me the other day asking about charcoal and stuff. You should never need to use lighter fluid. I don't agree with that at all. If the cheaper charcoal or supermarket charcoal is the only stuff you can get your hands on, then sometimes you just need to take one for the team and go for it and cook on it. I would just make sure it's well burned off first. My supplies aren't lasting too bad. I think I have about 3/4 of a bag of KJ lumpwood left, and I have a little bit of Weber lumpwood, and I have a bag and a half of briquettes, and hopefully they'll last me a little while. I need to get sorted out with a bit more. Loads of meat. I managed to get a couple of meat deliveries, so we're flying. Oliver sent me over his news. So he's set up a new company called Meat Matters, and they're doing some awesome looking beef, and I think they're doing salt marsh lamb as well. So he sent me over a big bone-in sirloin and a couple of regular, I hate to call them regular because they don't look regular, they're great looking, but he sent me over a couple of them, so I'm going to be cooking them through the week. But the beef looks unreal. So what's everybody else saying? Only slagging that in barbecue, it's sacrilege. Yeah, there's absolutely no need for lighter fluid or light in the bag stuff or easy light charcoal. I don't agree with it at all. I haven't used that stuff in years. I used to do it. I hold my hands up whenever I wasn't into barbecue and everything. I never had a chimney starter. I never even had a proper barbecue. I had this little crappy kettle with like a fold up stand on it. I remember it used to just collapse down at a moment's notice. It was terrible. So I have done it before. I used to douse the stuff in lighter fluid and stand every 5 minutes, squirt more onto it. But we all live and we learn. Putting a barbecue sauce from the t-shirt. Maggie, I'm rationing briquettes. Have 25 kilogram box of restaurant grade charcoal, which is decent. 25 kilograms should keep you going for a good while. Most of the bags are sort of 12 or 15 kilos, so you have a good bit extra to keep you going. So, how long have we been on for? 49 minutes already. Well, I suppose for, 15 minutes of that we weren't actually saying anything. So, I think we're going to call it quits there, guys. Romley Moore, we all started somewhere, exactly. What am I talking about? I started in gas. I went from charcoal, and whenever I bought my first Weber, technically I won my first Weber, which was a go anywhere, and then I bought my first Weber, which is a 3 burner gas barbecue. It didn't take me long then to move off from that. So here we're going to call it quits, guys. We've finally managed to get to the end of it again. Sorry, this one was such a clusterfuck. But I say these things happen. It's better to happen now than next week we're doing the cook along. So if you want to join in with the cook along, we're just going to plough through next week, do it no matter what noises are going on. 4 o'clock next Saturday, we're doing pork souvlaki. If you visit barbechoo.com/cook along, all one word, you can download the recipe there and grab the ingredients, and there's a few things there you can do to prepare beforehand. I'll try and post up on social media and stuff. I know the bits I'm preparing beforehand, and then you can follow along. So we'll call it quits. I'm gonna go and eat the rest of these, share them out, and I'll give you a shout then through the week, and we'll arrange for that cook along next week. Again, we put it out to a vote. Pork souvlaki 1. So that's the one we're doing. So thanks very much, guys, for tuning in. See you again soon. End.